They go into the halftime break with a 15-point lead. Then the third quarter was all theirs as they built a 25-point lead, and the rest is history, Fezzi.
Bonte? We argue all the time about what wins championships, defense or offense. Well, neither of them showed up tonight. For the Warriors, they let the Minnesota Timberwolves score 72 points in the paint. Julius Randle just had his way with the Warriors defense the whole time. He had a 29-point, 8-rebound, 5-assist night. It seemed like they couldn't do anything about it. They shot 62% from the field, 40% from the three-point line. This is a really tough way to go, especially with Steph Curry on the sidelines watching.
Yeah.
This was a tough one.
Unfortunate, JTA, that Steph Curry didn't get to play in the last 4 games of the series with the left hamstring strain. The Warriors was hoping that they could extend this series to a Game 6, but they got swept at home. They get blown out today in Minnesota, and that is the season right there. But defensively, you talked about it in the pregame show, point of attack defense, it was non-existent tonight for the Dubs.
Right. I think that's been a common theme throughout the series. I think just the pressure from Minnesota has just been way too much, and it's not always about the stat that you're notching. It's, you know, the effect on the defense. Put in the defense in scramble mode, and I think, you know, for the majority of the game, Golden State was in scramble mode, and they're playing a step behind. Minnesota played advantage basketball for the majority of this series, and they made good basketball decisions leading to wide open shots.
Yeah, the Warriors, I thought, was a gutsy effort again. And Festus, it's never really, like, to me, like an offensive defense. They were always connected. But tonight, not being able to make shots and sustain that was the big factor. Minnesota shoots 63% from the field, 42 from the three. The Warriors get 12 more field goal attempts and make 10 less field goals.
Wow.
So that's, you got to give them credit. They were getting up and down the floor. They were playing fast. They forced 21 turnovers, but they just couldn't capitalize. And to me, we were all watching the game together. How many times did you see Julius Randle with pods on him? And right, that's a bad matchup. And they wound up either getting into the paint and missing a shot and getting an offensive rebound. Across the board, Minnesota had so many physical matchups that they liked, even when they didn't capitalize and they got it to 25. I thought they were kind of messing around with the game a little bit. They were always able to put the ball in either Anthony Edwards' hands, Julius Randle, and get something from a mismatch. So from that standpoint, obviously when you're missing your best player in Steph Curry, a lot of those margins go away, and you have to almost play perfect basketball. But I thought the effort was there, the energy, but the execution and the ability to knock down shots consistently, keep yourself in the game on the road, was too much to ask.
And we always talk about closing quarters, right, Fezzi? As the end of the second quarter, I just mentioned it there, that run, 17-5, where Minnesota just took their time, got any shot they wanted. It really busted up that Warriors zone defense as we pull up the tape here and roll it in the second quarter. Again, 3-point game. Warriors did not play particularly well in the first 21 minutes of this game.
Big three right here by Mike Conley.
Huge three. It was back-to-back threes for Mike Conley Jr. there.
Back-to-back threes. I mean, Bonte, this is a very well-balanced scoring game by the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you look across the board, you can just see everyone moving the ball, making plays. They had 36 assists tonight. That's ball movement. This is the Warriors style of basketball. And you can just see them figuring out the Warriors defense as the series went along.
Yeah, you're right, Fezzi. All 5 starters scored in double figures for Minnesota, and they also got Dante DiVincenzo with 13 points off the bench. And listen to this. Look at that. Missed 3, doesn't get back on defense. Julius Randle with the and one there. And it's all Minnesota by the time they go into the locker room.
I think also the offense looks a lot different. So, you know, when you're practicing every single day and you're practicing these shots and you're practicing these patterns, you know when shots are going to go up. You're expecting them to go up. I think, you know, kind of trying to freestyle and trying to find something, shots are going up when they're not expected. You know, a guy's going to screen and he looks up, the shot's up. And you're not in position to, 1, rebound, or 2, get back. And I think that led to a lot of fast break points for Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, you said about the 6 plays in double figures. That 36-6 mark is pretty incredible for them. They averaged 25 assists during the regular season. That's more of a Warriors number. The Warriors, once again, just 21 assists. They got 12 more field goal attempts. I'm not quite sure from the lack of ball movement as higher quality shots. That 21, when they're under 23 assists, now they're 3-15.
Yep.
It's the fact that I mentioned that the record's bad, but the fact that it doesn't happen a lot tells you that's not really the style they prefer to play.
You saw a lot of that there Dribble, 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 dribble. Guys not knowing where to go. No cutters. The offense looked completely different without Stephen Curry.
Yeah, I mean, Bonte, the whole offense is built around Steph. And so all year long, the Warriors have played one way, and then you're missing that fulcrum, that guy who makes everything go. So now they had to figure out a way to build a whole new team from scratch. And it just didn't look... They looked exactly like what it was. They looked makeshift. Everybody was trying to figure out how to play together. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I mean, they just had all their guys firing all cylinders. As the series went along, you saw new guys keep playing better and better. Tonight, Mike Conley, who has been struggling all series long, has 16 points. That's just an example of how they just kept figuring out ways to break down the Warriors defense. You saw guys driving right to the rim now. All those things just started to work together for them. Meanwhile, on the Warriors end, they just kept struggling.
So, Bay, I feel compelled to use a James Harden quote. So, Steph Curry is the system. We talk a lot about system and championship DNA and all those things. Steph Curry is the system.
I try to break out my mustard suit and everything, thinking that all this light will give us some energy.
You might want to break out the sauerkraut mustard also.
Staying alive.
I'd be more disappointed that Monty Poole didn't break out his leather jacket from Minnesota as he's live there in the Target Center awaiting some live reaction for the Golden State Warriors. Monty, let's go ahead and just start with this series here. Give me your big takeaway with the series. What'd I do?
Monty!
Oh, yeah, I'm not. Oh, my bad. Warriors Insider, Hall of Famer here in NBC Sports Bay Area.
Monty!
For the last time this season, Monty Poole. Take it away, Monty. What's your thoughts on this series as it comes to an end?
Well, I think we all knew that when Steph Curry went down in Game 1, 13 minutes in the game, 13 points in those 13 minutes, I think you knew the Warriors from that point on would be fighting uphill, and they were. They really never had a chance to really take over a game. They won Game 1, and they thought they had a formula to win at least one of the games at home. They didn't win either one of those games, so to come back here down 3-1, facing elimination against a team at that point you knew was superior. The Warriors needed Steph Curry. He was not available to them. Without him, they are a much lesser team, and they were already facing a team that, actually is deeper, bigger, stronger, more athletic, and more skilled. They have the two best players in this series, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. So it was uphill the entire time. It just wasn't enough for the Warriors to pull out down the stretch. They couldn't find ways. The Timberwolves did a great job of just squelching the Warriors' offense. The assist totals were down. The scoring was down. Every run the Warriors made, and Draymond Green pointed this out after Game 4, it seemed like every run we made, he said, they had an answer for, and they did. When the Warriors would creep closer and closer, the Wolves would go on a run. They'll blow the lead back from 7 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 21. And so in this game, you kind of saw that again. The Warriors got closer down the stretch there. They scrapped, they fought, but the Timberwolves had an answer for that too, and they won this thing going away.
So, Monty, the season just ended literally about 10 minutes ago. But I'm going to ask you about the offseason here. What's the biggest thing the Warriors need to fix this offseason? What's the biggest question that looms over this franchise as we